Oh, hey there. Thanks for stopping by. My name's Farhan. I used to be an Apple engineer for many years, and now I'm a CTO of a startup. Today we're going to talk about design thinking. Let's get started. So usually, as engineers, we're often struggling to come up with innovative solutions and find ways to solve an actual problem. So there's one problem that engineers faced that I used to face a lot too, which is I used to find solutions to problems that don't really exist. I don't know if you've seen that around. For example, the Segway is a great example where the inventor created this really, honestly, a really cool technological product, but it didn't really have a purpose. It was cool, and you could maybe argue that it's used to transport you here and there, but in the end, it failed to live up to its hype, and that's because it was a solution looking for a problem. And that's where we have this dilemma where these great engineers, great innovators, great designers come up with these awesome solutions, but for no problem in particular. That's where design thinking comes in, and I'd love to talk to you about that in this video. So design thinking can be broken down into 5 main steps. These steps include, number 1, empathizing with the customer so you understand their actual needs. Number 2 is boiling that down and defining the problem and defining their problem so you can actually tackle them. Number 3 is ideating on those problems that this customer has and coming up with solutions, brainstorming with teammates and friends and peers and even the customer themselves. Number 4 is prototyping a solution based on these ideation, this thought process. And number 5, which is super crucial and probably the most important, is testing that solution or testing that prototype. And a 6th kind of hidden step is to go back to the beginning and do this again until you find the perfect product for these customers, especially iterating over and over again, finding those problems, finding out new solutions, finding new problems until you find this perfect product at the end. So let's talk about step 1, empathy. This is where you want to understand and connect to your customer and really go deep into why they want this problem solved, why they have these problems, and really connect with this desire to have a solution. So the way to empathize with your user is to really deeply understand them and listen to them, listen to their problems, observe them in their situation, and see what they're actually doing, how they're trying to solve those problems. You can discuss this further with them by looking for the underlying actual issues and pain points that they have. And this is crucial because it might not be very apparent in their behavior what their actual problems are. And through this process, you get to be in their shoes to understand exactly what their problems are and how you may start to tackle them. Number 2 is creating a problem. Now that we know these are the high-level problems that my customer is facing or my user is facing, you can start to define a problem statement. A really nice, concise 1-sentence or 2-sentence problem statement of what problem they're having can help you really find a good solution. So the better problem statement you have, the better the solution is going to be. So the next part of this is to try and find a way to reframe the problem statement from the user's perspective. And this will help you really, get into their shoes. And that helps you find a better solution. All right, next comes a fun bit, ideation. And this is where you can go all out and really have fun, come up with awesome solutions, crazy solutions, new things all over the place. And I really recommend you do that. Find friends, find family members, just brainstorm a whole bunch of crazy ideas. For example, if you have a problem statement that says that, hey, I need to get from one location to another location as fast as possible, come up with a new thing. For example, the Wright brothers probably sounded ridiculous saying that, hey, I'm going to fly. So it's going to be very important for you to consider techniques like divergent thinking to help you find new ways to solve that problem. You can use techniques like mind mapping or a brain map, where you can put down on a piece of paper a whole bunch of solutions for small aspects of that problem and find a solution like that. So one of the ways that I can find a problem is doing mind mapping. And the way that I mind map is I'll draw a big circle and I'll write the problem down, and then I'll map to it different ways to solve that problem. So next is prototyping. And prototyping is super essential and key to finding a good solution and building something that starts to tackle these problems that the customer has. So there's many techniques of prototyping. For physical prototyping, you can use what's known as paper models, where you cut up paper and put it together and try and make it feel like the product. Maybe you have some moving parts in your product and you can maybe use paper to move, actuate things around. You can use 3D printing to come up with really awesome creative solutions that are quick to build and easy to test, and you can iterate very quickly. And you can even use software tools to make simple mock-ups. You can use Figma to create awesome feels-like solutions and products that almost actually work like the real product but are just representations of it. And so creating the prototype is really important because it helps create that confidence and it dips your toes into this process of creating solutions for customers. And really you get to be proud of the solution that you're creating, and you really get to expand and test those awesome ideas you came up with in the previous step. All right, and finally, it's testing. Now, a good solution never works without testing. Actually, a lot of people have this problem where they don't test enough. They just build one product, build one solution, and just send it out. And they find that often they have bad reviews, or that it's not up to the standards that the customer would want. And so really you want to build and test. Once you've built, you want to test and test and test and see what's breaking, what's not working for the customer, and what's not solving their problems. And there's many ways of testing, right? You can test by seeing how the customer uses the product. Is it as you expect? Is it actually solving their problem? Is it making them faster or better, more efficient? Is it addressing their pain points? And another thing you might want to test is, hey, is this product actually reliable? Is it bugging? Is it crashing? If it's a physical product, is the customer going to drop it? And is it going to break on the first drop, right? This testing section is really key, and I do recommend you spend a good amount of time. And then finally, now that you've tested, what do you do if things are breaking? And what do you do if your product isn't as you expected? Well, that's awesome. That's why you tested. You go back to the beginning. You understand, hey, am I understanding what the customer's pain points are? Am I empathizing with them? Have I defined their problem correctly? Have I brainstormed sufficiently? Is the prototype actually good enough for this part of the phase of this production? Or am I testing it properly or not? And you can repeat this process over and over again until you find that perfect solution for your customer. So let's wrap it up. What did we talk about today? We talked about design thinking, and there are 5 main steps there. There's empathy, understanding your customer's needs and wants. There's defining the problem statement, so where you actually define and put on paper what it is the customer really needs to solve. Then there's ideation and brainstorming, coming up with some clever solutions. Then there's prototyping those solutions, and finally testing and repeating as many times as needed. Design thinking is used across the industry, and the very best use it. In fact, there's several great books that talk about this ideation process and this iterative process. There's a book called The Lean Startup by Eric Rice. That's a very good book, and it talks about the real importance of iterating and building quickly. And I'm reading this book right now, Build by Tony Fadell, and it's quite excellent. And it does give you a lot of key insights into how the Nest thermostat was built. In the future, I'll talk about what I learned here and some really good key insights in this book. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, consider subscribing. I come up with these kind of videos once a week, and hit the bell notification if you want to be notified when I make one. In the meantime, YouTube thinks that you'll like this video, and perhaps this video might be interesting to you as well. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for visiting. Until next time, keep thinking, keep building.